If you are someone that is wanting to feel more whole, this podcast is really beneficial for you. It actually doesn't matter if you feel like you are enough to receive guidance or wisdom in your life. If you just are willing to follow some of the practices and some of the steps, it's going to happen, whether you feel like you are good enough or not. Insights plus practical application equals wisdom and light. The sincere seeker of truth is always looking for the deeper lesson. Any fool can learn the surface lesson. The nature will be a mirror for you about you and where you're at right now and what you need.
Acting on emotions as guides to truth. Stillness. Surrendering to what is. Seeking. Using my gifts with purpose. Light. This is the emotional blueprint.
So this is the first of many podcasts. Or this is the first podcast that we've ever done because we have officially promoted Dane from tech guy to co-host for this one specifically. But I want to start off talking a little bit about who is going to benefit from this podcast. And if you're listening to this one for the first time, the future ones. Okay, so if you are someone that is wanting to feel more whole, this podcast is really beneficial for you. If you're wanting to have a deeper spiritual connection, this podcast can be really beneficial for you. If you're somebody that is wanting to know more of what their purpose is and wants to know what am I meant to do in my life, and wants to improve relationships. Those are probably the big four, like finding purpose, feeling emotionally whole, spiritual connection, and relationships. We have not intentionally planned it out that way. We are trying to listen and trust the natural flow of where this is meant to go. And those have been the four big, I think, themes that have kind of emerged. So what's unique about me and you, if we have been here for every single one so far.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
I've been here and sometimes I haven't been here.
the life of a tech guy. But yeah, man, I'm honestly super glad to do this just with you. I think it's going to be a cool one.
Yeah, I'm stoked. There's plenty I'm sure we could talk about for sure.
I actually do want to get your thoughts. What has been your experience, like just from an observer, like seeing the podcast evolve the way that it has? Like what have you noticed and what has kind of been, I don't know, impactful for you?
Everything that you're talking about, obviously, I mean, sometimes I'm like, all right, I'm manning the cameras and I'm manning the tech, and I don't quite pick up on everything, but for the most part, it's somehow coming in and and settling, because I've definitely, whether it's like, oh, I have to edit the podcast. I don't edit the podcast, but I do the audio. So I have to listen back somewhat.
I have to.
So yeah, I have to. I have to hear what's going on. I'm obsessed with the quality of the audio, but the quality of the content is really, everything's really profound. Like, I think it's harder to step back when you're like heads in the weeds of like, how does this all sound and how does this all look and how is this going to come across in a professional way from just the production standpoint of it. But then when you hear statements from people like, wow, this is like life-changing stuff or things that I haven't thought of before. And then I go, wait, yeah, it is stuff that's life-changing, but a lot of it's stuff that I've kind of known spiritually. I think you and I are on a very similar like plane
Yeah.
Fortunately, like on a spiritual, but you've just done some really cool deep dives on like where this is all coming from both it's like you're combining the secular and the spiritual, right? So talking about merging East and West, and those concepts are newer to me, someone like myself who's not as studied with regards to like, where is all this stuff coming from? Ultimately, you and I believe it comes from God, right? And you do a great job at making it universal for people because not everyone believes in God. But anyway, without going too far down this rabbit hole, what I take away from it is just the simple application of like, how can I apply this in my day-to-day family relationships? Because that's like
same.
That's where it matters. We know that's like we're in the trenches of parenthood, and we have a lot to. There's so much that we can talk about with regards to how this relates to parenting, and that's the biggest. That's how I've benefited from this. You know, I think one of the things that I hear repeated from the podcasts that you've had with like Kimberly and with Ernest and others is the idea of stillness. And that has helped me to just like pause more and think before either speaking or, I think like the importance of taking time to like let truth like distill type thing.
What's so profound about what you're saying is stillness is it's an evolution. And I think this evolution of us realizing like, okay, we're trying really hard to present information, but it's like the harder we try to present information that we think is good, the more that it's not that good, the more that it kind of sucks. So the evolution, what's been so cool for me to see is like, obviously we do a lot of meditation and preparation for these, but it's like when we're in the moment, like we're leaving it up to like the wise hand to intervene and to, put thoughts and feelings in. And I've shared things that are really personal that I've never shared with anybody. And I think for me, it's been so powerful just like to think back about my own story and my own, journey and my own healing journey, and to see moments that I forgot about and to have those come up as we talk about this. It's been just so humbling, man, to like see the pieces come together. And like, I love I think it's awesome to get to a point where we can honestly say like, I love my story so far. It's like, it's a cool, and that's had a huge impact on me for sure.
Yeah. I mean, what a blessing to be able to say that you love your own story. Like how many,
I didn't always feel that way.
Yeah. Well, how many,
like this is a new thing for me.
Yeah. But like, I think for people that are thinking like, I don't love my own story. The thing that I also have taken away from this podcast is like, you've worked with people that have gone through unimaginable trauma. Like, just compared to all that, like I've just had the most elevator ride of my life. You know what I mean? Like, not that I haven't had my own, like my challenges are they're different. Like they're just different. Like but I acknowledge that I would choose my life. I think I would choose my challenges, right? Like even in hindsight versus some of these just absolutely awful things that I've heard people go through that come on your podcast. So what I was going to say to wrap that up is like, if you're thinking that like, oh, I don't love my story, like that can change. I think that's the power of
it's changed for me.
Hopefully the power of the podcast is in the idea of change. And that's been change has been something that's on my mind more than ever.
Cool.
Lately. So
cool. I want to give people a little context about me and you. So we've been friends for 15 years.
Crazy.
15 years, Dane.
I know. It's wild.
And
That's weird.
you've always been, I'm so excited to have more one-on-one with you in some of these topics, because just thinking back to my story, the person in my childhood that probably has had the biggest impact on me in who I am is my brother. My home life was pretty broken. But my brother was loyal, and I was a punk, and he would like be very forgiving and supportive and kind and like just consistent. He was the only like reliable relationship pretty much in my life when I was growing up. And he actually saved my life once, which is kind of a cool, like legit saved my life.
Oh, I want to hear that story.
And you are the 2025 version of him, and have been actually, because you've always been that person for me as an adult, basically. So wow. I've always been really grateful for that.
I feel super honored to have played that role, man. Like, yeah, a lot.
And the thing is, because you're so consistent, it's like the changes in you have been like, because you've always been so consistent. It's like when I look back at you from when I knew you 15 years ago, like, have you changed? It's like, yeah, you've only gotten gradually a better person.
Yeah.
I think. And it's interesting because I think the changes that maybe I've seen in myself over the last 15 years is like, I don't know, like kind of a roller coaster.
Yeah.
And, anyways, it's just kind of cool to think about the history of, and some of that will come up in some of what we talk about today, but
that's cool.
Yeah. I want to start off. The last thing I want to say is, before we really kind of dive in, is we have been starting to involve people more in feedback that they have and like topics that they want to learn more about and like questions they have and like gaps as far as application in what we're talking about. So like, if there's anything you want to learn more about, any questions, all you have to do is go to our website, which is theemotionalblueprint.com. And then on the very bottom, there's a contact form, and just fill it out. And we're going to incorporate all of that into what we're doing.
You should say it into that camera right there.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm saying it to you because I want you to do that. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
I'm just kidding. So that's just a plug-in for that. Okay. So I want to start off by sharing something that's been on my mind lately. So something that has, as I've been working with clients lately, a theme lately has been I encourage people to connect more spiritually and to seek answers spiritually. And one of the things that I've noticed has been coming up is people are often feeling like, well, I don't feel like I'm worthy, or I don't feel like I'm good enough. I don't feel like I'm living my life in a good enough way to actually get answers. And I just don't feel confident that that's going to happen because of who I am.
Right.
Okay.
Like fundamentally as a person.
Yeah. So I want to share a story that I think is powerful, and then I want to ask you a question. In the story of Christ, the story that pops out the most in this regard is the woman at the well. So when Christ is beginning his like mission, who is the first person that he goes to? It's this woman at the well who actually is a Samaritan. And in the context, the Jews didn't have any dealings with Samaritans. Like, they were like cast out and viewed as, I don't know, just different or whatever. And Christ goes to this woman who had 5 husbands before, and the man that she was with was not currently her husband. So she was, in that societal time, she was viewed as like pretty like
a stain in society or something.
For sure.
Yeah.
And Christ is the first person she's the first person that Christ goes to. And she is one of the first people that he tells her who he is. And she says, I know that the Messiah has cometh, and when he comes, he will teach us all things. And he says, I am he. And everything the reason why I love the Christ story is because everything that he did had a really deep meaning to it. And I just feel like that is a really, I'm sure it actually doesn't matter if you feel like you are enough to receive guidance or wisdom in your life. If you just are willing to follow some of the practices and some of the steps, it's going to happen, whether you feel like you are good enough or not. And so I think that's just a really important reminder. So any other thoughts on that, man?
I mean, it goes back to like, he says he's no respecter of persons, right? Which is beautiful because it just means the playing field is always even.
I don't care what your status is.
Yeah. Like,
I don't care how much money you have. I don't, and honestly, I don't care what you've done I don't care what you've done in the past. What do you want right now?
Yeah. So much easier said, right, than to like take that upon you. You know what I mean? Like, because we tie I think that's the other thing that you've talked about on the podcast is detaching like your self-worth from like what you do like as an occupation. Because so many of our interactions, like what's our interaction as a parent and as a like just as an adult, right? Especially if you're a parent, there's like two things that like your day-to-day revolves around: work and parenting. There's maybe some time for friendship here and there. But like, unfortunately, like if you have good friends, those interactions are uplifting and they're a boon to these other two things, you know. But, so it's like your self-worth is constant. You're constantly thinking like, am I doing good enough at work and blah, blah, blah. And that's something I need to work on anyway. Just like not.
Yeah. Well, I think of some of the powerful stories that have been shared on here already. The story of Kimberly and Ernest's story about how they talked about how they were just in this really dark hole and they never thought they were going to get out of it. And what did they do? They just started doing some good things. And what's going to be cool, what we're going to talk about today is even if you don't feel like you are good enough or that you deserve whatever good thing in your life, we're going to talk about a couple spiritual steps that if you act on, it's just not going to matter if you feel like you're enough or not. Like there's light that comes with that. And then it's like, God's like, I actually want to prove you wrong. Based on like this woman at the well, by societal standards, she was not worth much. Yep. Yeah. She was insignificant.
Ignored.
But it's powerful what she said. I know that the Messiah has cometh. What that means is she was already, even though she was already seeking and she was already starting to get answers. And that's why Christ came to her. She viewed herself as insignificant. That's why she was going to get water at the well at noon when no one else was going.
I never thought about that side of it, that she was prepared. Right. It's like you think, oh, he just decided to show up to someone random, but it was like,
no, she was seeking. She was seek and you shall find.
It's really cool.
Mm-hmm. And anyways, I think that's a powerful example. So let's talk about connecting better spiritually. I want to throw out a question. Why do you think people make quicker progress in their life when they are spiritually open and active?
Oh man, that's really good. Why do you think?
Because as a therapist, I've definitely noticed that like when people are spiritually open and like active, they just make quicker progress in the things that matter. So I'm curious your thoughts to kick this off. Like, why is that?
Well, can I ask a quick question to just clarify?
Please.
Make sure I have the answer correct. Like, what do you consider to be spiritually active?
That can look like whatever you we're going to throw out some things that but I guess to answer you, it's somebody that is open to learning from a higher, like someone greater than themselves, And that is wanting to. Like that's the desire that they have. They're seeking and they're open to starting to seek that.
Yeah. Okay. Man, let me be still and think about this.
While you're thinking about that, let's pull up. Go ahead. I want you to answer this first.
Yeah, I think I have thoughts.
Go ahead.
There is like it sounds like kind of woo-woo, to like say it, but whether you want to call it God or the universe, however you want to articulate this higher power that exists, that higher power, I think we can all universally say is like a disseminator of truth.
Yep.
And so when you're seeking for like objective truth,
like that's the source.
Yeah. Like I think truth leads you to just ultimately like a higher plane of thought, which results in a higher plane, which precedes the higher plane of like living.
That's really powerful. I want to build off that. So another way to ask the question is like, how does it benefit our life to be spiritual or to be interested in that?
Yeah.
I love what you said, man. It's pretty powerful what you said, actually. There's a passage of scripture and it says, if your eye is single to my glory, your whole body shall be filled with light. And there shall be no darkness in you. And that body which is filled with light comprehendeth all things. So I love that visual. It's this, I think a lot of times, when I think about God or the universe, I think about it as a relationship. It has always made a lot of sense to me that God is a relationship. And in my experience, like an actual being that I can have a relationship with. Well, why? Well, because imagine I meet up with a friend and let's say this friend is, I don't know, sometimes in a good place and sometimes isn't, which is most people. When I'm with them and they're in a good place, they might be able to give me something good. But if they're not in a good place, they don't have, maybe they can't, and that's fine. But I love this visual of looking at God as a relationship. Like anytime we are connecting with him or talking to him or receiving something from him, we get more light. And our body, our spirit can actually, like a light bulb, like a dimmer switch, can grow in more light over time. And as we receive more and more truth, our body becomes so full of light until the point where it is able to comprehend all things.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say that it's incumbent upon people that are receiving this light to actually, like, I think of the way to get more of it is just by like acting on it.
Right.
For
it to become a part of your spirit, it has to be integrated. It's not just knowledge.
Yeah. It's funny because
it's wisdom.
It's, it's funny just to relate it to what I do. So if anyone's interested or cares, I'm the tech guy on the podcast. So I have a background in audio engineering, and which ultimately comes from music production is what I'm passionate about. So I produce music for other artists and I teach students music production and engineering. That is all the process of like making music, in a listenable format today. And there's so many people that know more than me, right? Mm-hmm. That like can talk about the different concepts of audio engineering and gear and all the nerdy stuff that comes. I'm a total audio nerd myself, but like I'm not really technically that like adept, like naturally. But because of my obsession with music, I've had to be, or I've had to learn how do I get my voice inside inside my recording software so that I can turn this into music, into a song, my guitar, my piano. And ultimately, like, it's the people that are actually making music that really can put the two together, the book knowledge and what really matters is, like, whose music are we listening to? It's the people that are actually making it, not the people that just can spout off a bunch of ideas and knowledge about the gear involved or whatever, the technical stuff, right? And so I think a lot of people get so obsessed, and this is where you see like forums develop, where like people can keyboard warrior themselves through forums all day, and they appear to be super wise or knowledgeable or whatever, but like in the end, like, what are the results? Like,
yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, what are the results of in the fruits of your life? And I think those people are the ones that are like that dimmer switch is like constantly like growing.
Well, and so the message is insights can be pretty hollow without practical application.
Yeah.
So this equation that maybe we're developing is insights plus practical application equals wisdom and light.
Exactly.
Okay. So that is another theme that has emerged. So we're talking about why spirituality is important. This other passage, man, has been so powerful too. I just want to revisit this. Okay, so what's the benefit of incorporating spirituality in my life? So I love this visual. So in the scripture in the Bible, it's Job 12. It says, "In whose hand is the soul of every living thing and the breath of all mankind?" So imagine us just in the hand of God or the universe, right?
Mm-hmm.
And just how close that, I mean, God is literally holding us in his hand like he's really close. I just think that's a cool visual. And then it says, with him is wisdom and strength. He has counsel and understanding. And then this part is really cool. He discovers deep things out of darkness. He discovers deep things out of darkness and bringeth out to light the shadow of death. What does that mean? Well, I feel like one of the best things, one of the coolest things about spirituality and our connection with that is it can turn dark things into deep things. It can turn darkness into bringeth to light. So this is what we have been talking about. What is the darkness? The darkness is pain. The darkness is challenges that we avoid. And so going toward that without a higher wisdom, we can go toward that. But the added benefit of having spirituality involved in that is deep things can come out of darkness. It's like we go into a dark hole and then light comes out.
Yeah.
This is how people genuinely feel really grateful for, their pain and their challenges. Because of how they feel after, obviously. Opposite, we know, is like there are opposites in everything. But it's weird how people talk. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
It's weird how people talk about it because they're like, oh, like you're going through something hard and that's going to make you stronger. Is that true?
It can be.
Yeah, it's conditional upon you going toward and feeling the pain and then involving some kind of higher wisdom to really teach you the deep things that come out of darkness. The deep things. So in every thing that's difficult that we go through, any hard trial or challenge, there's always a surface lesson and then there's always a deeper lesson.
Would you say that like one of the biggest lessons of this concept, or one of the deepest things that comes out of darkness, is a realization of your your worth no matter what you've been through.
I think that's a consistent theme for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's really powerful.
Yeah.
Well, let's give an example of this. So let's say a girl drinks too much at a party and then ends up getting taken advantage of.
Mm.
The surface lesson would be, I need to make sure I don't drink alone at parties.
Sure.
Okay?
Yeah.
But that's if she got taken advantage, there's some pain there. There's potentially a deeper lesson, and that deeper lesson could be anything. It could be like, I really need to, and these deeper lessons can only come from the source of a spiritual source. Okay.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say only, I don't want to be absolutist about that, but it often does this. And she might reflect on that and meditate on that and pray about it and realizes that, she needs to be more closer to God and make that more of a priority, or value her relationships more. It can be a lot of things. So the sincere seeker of truth is always looking for the deeper lesson. Any fool can learn the surface lesson. I was drinking and driving.
Yeah.
I need to make sure I don't drink and drive.
Right. Yeah.
But there's always a potential for a deeper lesson.
It's like the number one goal as a parent is to teach your kids like the why, the deeper lesson behind whatever boundaries we help set for them. You start surface level, right? And then they'll learn, sometimes unfortunately through their own mistakes, what that deeper lesson might be.
Yeah.
But and I think God or the universe gives us our freedom, our agency to, unfortunately have to learn the deeper lessons through those like really dark hardships that can sometimes be a result of our own decisions.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they're not. Right.
Well, what's cool about learning the deeper lesson is it eliminates future suffering.
Yeah.
It
lights the way forward.
Mm-hmm. It turns into light within us.
Yeah.
Like we've been talking about. Yeah. So those are just some cool, I think reasons. So let's talk about this in a little bit of a different way. I want to talk about incorporating nature a little bit more into like our spiritual practice, so what is the value of incorporating nature into our spiritual practice?
The value of that for me is, it's like for something as simple as like, I don't want to say simple because they're not simple, but like mountains or lakes or rivers or streams or forests with like all their complexity and their ecosystems. It's like you get to stand. It's a holy place to me. It really is, because it's like, it's God's creation. And being in and among that creation, which, by the way, has come about because of like perfect order. You know what I mean?
Yes. So it's so cool what you're saying, man.
You're in perfect order. You're amongst what it means to be like almost like perfection, basically, as far as,
and to be
like the grass doesn't go, today I'm not going to absorb the light of the sun and grow. I don't want to do that. And I'm going to take a break. I've been cut down and grown and cut down over and over again. I think I'll sit this one out and I'll take a break, go on vacation. It's like it goes up and it gets cut, and then it's just like relentless. It's just constant. So
that's really cool. It can be like a pretty cool example of like submission and submitting to the natural seasons and flow of life. Basically what we're trying to learn as a human because it's when we resist the natural flow of emotions or life that we suffer. And
Yeah.
so nature is a beautiful example. It's just a beautiful example of that. And I think a cool way to think about this too is, what is the value of incorporating nature? Imagine you're really trying to solve this difficult problem in your life. Imagine you're trying to solve this difficult problem. Just imagine, and if you close your eyes, just imagine a perfect symbol appearing that is an answer to your difficult problem.
Mm.
That's what nature is. Nature is the symbolism of God.
Interesting.
So, example, a couple of days ago, I was going into nature, and my question was, where am I at right now on my path? And what is to come for me? I love doing this in nature because I can see it. It's a tangible, physical symbol. Okay. So my practice was asking the question and being still, and then getting up and walking in this still, space. And every single time, we'll talk more about this, but every single time I do this, I see symbols. And so what I saw was actually something. So I saw two things. There's many things I saw, but one of the first things I saw is this golden piece of like wheat that didn't look like it was supposed to be in the forest, but it was just, and I knew instantly that was a symbol for me. And it was, and I knew instantly, it just like spiritually, it communicates with your spirit. You see it and you know what it means.
You're really connected to these experiences.
And it didn't used to be like this for me. At first it required me to reflect after and be like, what does that mean? And then the answers start to come. But as you get practice with it, you can see symbols and know what they mean for you.
Means that some people are going to have to step outside the concrete jungle. We're lucky, man, because we have so much nature around us. It's like growing up in Southern California and being next to the ocean, that was nature for me. And I was in it every day. Not every day, but like most days of the week. I'm like in the water, feeling the energy of this powerful source, this ocean water.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like,
it's awesome.
Charging me. And we get that here.
Yep.
For people that are like in the middle of the city, just heads down, working 90 hours a week or something stupid crazy. It's not the way we're meant to live. No.
So I see this gold wheat.
Yeah.
And I knew instantly that it meant that, financially it's going to be provided to you what you need to fulfill this next part of your path. And I knew exactly what that was. So I was like, oh, that's really cool. Yeah. But then immediately after that, I'm continuing to walk. And then I see this, there was this path I was on. And then there was this giant stack of sticks. And instantly I knew that was another symbol. And what it meant was that there was going to be this great barrier in your path. But what was cool is other people were going to view it as a barrier. But I was going to have the wisdom to view it as let's just go around it. It's really not that big of a deal at all. But so it was kind of cool to, so that's the power of nature, is it's the same source of truth. It's all connected. It's not like, people that might be religious be like, oh, I don't want to be deceived.
I don't want to go there.
And it's it's all coming from the same source. It's just a different delivery. It's do you want to get a letter? Do you want to get a phone call?
An email?
Do you want to get a video message?
Yeah.
They're all different ways that God and Mother Nature and the Spirit, whatever, can speak to you. So it's what do you feel like? What's going to be the most powerful for you? And that has been something I've been so grateful for Kimberly. She's really helped introduce that for me. This is what's evolved from the podcast. And so that's really the value, man, is do you want to be taught in the form of symbolism? Nature, I don't think there's any better way.
Yeah.
It's the universal symbol.
Yeah.
We've talked so much about trees, and it's just powerful, man. It's changed my life this last year.
Yeah. Would you say you're connected to this, like this finding symbols in nature, like just within the past year more so than ever? Or do you
I never did this before.
Oh, really?
Ever.
That's cool. Okay.
This is like the last 4 months, 5, probably last year-ish. But Kimberly's somewhat of a mystic. She's into all this alternative. I don't know. This isn't even alternative. It's viewed as alternative, the connecting with nature.
However,
but it's really
it's the most tangible thing that really,
and it's one of the origins of every spiritual, like prophet, biblical, like they would go into the mountains and, anyways, it's just, totally. It's always been there, like you said. So
yeah, even the very thought of being on top of a mountain is symbolic in and of itself. It's like, well, what is it about being on top of a mountain? Well, for one, you're on a higher plane, right?
Mm-hmm.
And not that everything is beneath you in a lesser value type of thing, but the symbolism is lifting yourself to a higher plane. Maybe that's a higher plane of thinking, of living, whatever.
Yeah.
Like already you can extract. And maybe that's why the spiritual leaders that we know of were like going into the mountains or going on top of a mountain or receiving wisdom from on top of a precipice of some kind or whatever, because that connection is being made. I mean, even if it's subconsciously, like.
Well, and here's what I see a lot as I talk to, people, spiritual people or whatever, is sometimes people can reduce nature to, it's just the power of it is just a quiet place to go to get answers. And
yeah, that's true.
Don't even dare reduce it to that. Do you know how offensive?
So only that.
Do you know how offensive that is to these trees? No, I'm just kidding. I'm kind of kidding, but
they will smite you.
Over probably 2 years ago, that's probably would have been my belief. So that's fine, but I'm telling you, it's an incredibly pure space. There is the Native American, our ancestors of this land. They talked about this all the time, like the power of the land, the power of these are real living spirits. The trees have a spirit. All living things are spiritual. And so imagine going into a random house and there's this just beautiful person, not physically, but just a beautiful soul that's sitting there and they're just quiet and they're still. It's like they impact the energy of that space.
100%.
We've all felt that. We go into a room and people are fighting. It's like, oh, bad vibes in here. Like it affects your space.
Yeah.
And so it's not just a quiet place.
Right. Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah.
It's a powerful, pure place of revelation through the form of symbols. And we can receive, the cool thing about nature is we can receive many different. My experience isn't exclusive. There's so many different ways to do it, but I do want to talk about like a little bit of practical application for this as we've been, so it's not just an intellectual thing.
Mm-hmm.
But go ahead. Were you going to say something else?
No, I didn't know.
Okay. This was powerful. This is from a book called We, written by Robert. We'll correct it later. The book's called We. He says that which we seek manifests as a he says the image, the God image flows out of our spirit, manifesting our deep rooted urge toward wholeness and unity. We were talking about this little couple podcasts ago, how the nature of our spirit is made up of wholeness and like unity. And it naturally, if we are still, our spirit is naturally going to want to seek symbols
and answers through them.
And so that's what's cool about, and there's no coincidence why my affinity for nature has grown, because what seemed to have to come before that is I needed to practice more stillness. And then what came from that is a natural desire to seek answers more from a place of symbolism. Okay. Again, this goes way back to prophet, biblical, almost every Buddhism, the symbolism in which they would teach. And it's just cool. So it's not just about symbolism, but our spirit yearns for this answers and truth. Mm-hmm. I love what he said. There must be something higher than this ego that pulls together all of life and all of phenomena. And that reveals to us the meaning of life. It creates in us a sense of unit. It creates in us a sense that the unitive vision is possible. Okay, so how can I connect with nature? Like, let's talk about the application of this. I'm feeling pretty spiritually connected, or maybe I'm not. I just want to put a plug in for this. There's some people that just do not feel comfortable connecting with, like, I don't know, a God figure for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Sometimes that has something to do with their own father.
Yeah.
And that's fine. This is another reason why nature can be a great resource. So any thoughts, man, on this question? Let's talk about this. How can I connect with nature in a more powerful way?
Like more powerful than just like consistently. I mean,
the question is, how can I connect with nature in a more powerful way? But maybe for you, Dane, like what way have you felt connected with nature that has, like, what have you done to connect with nature that has been helpful for you?
I don't know if it's because I'm like maybe I'm just more simple-minded, but like I find so much joy in the peace that comes from like a beautiful landscape, or just being like, I just know, I can't help but notice
the beauty of it,
and the bigger than me feeling of that, you know. It's like watching Dune 2 and going, how
I was hoping you'd bring up Dune.
How was this masterpiece put together? Like, it's so inspiring. And I did the same thing with nature. I'm in awe. I can't help but be in awe. And it never gets old. That's the thing, is it's like,
isn't that interesting?
It's very interesting that it never gets old. And it's like, wait, I've seen this like sunset before. Oh, but have you? Actually, it's probably a little bit different. Like, yeah, you've seen something, but there's just so much life to all of it. The grass growing it's like as simple as the grass coming back every spring. It's starting to show up. It's starting to get green. And I look at that. I look out the window and I see my neighbor's lawn going just like within a week. And I'm like, that is so cool. It's so beautiful. The mountains, from my view of we get Mount Timpanogos from my window in our main living room. And I can just sit in awe of seeing that, especially around this time when the leaves haven't quite grown in. There's trees there that would otherwise cover it. So I get a really beautiful view of that. And every time people ask me, my parents moved up from California recently, and everyone's like, how are your parents? How are they doing? And every time I'm noticing that I say the same thing every time. Every room in their house is a view of the most beautiful mountains and landscape. It's like, so how do you connect with that? Yeah.
Well, so it's cool. The way that you're describing it is you're describing you being a witness. And when we are a witness of something that's pure, then the purity of that becomes a mirror. Okay, so we actually, when we're still and we're witnessing something pure like nature, then what we notice about it is we're actually seeing ourselves in that. And so it's teaching us something about ourselves. And so it's cool. So that, I think, is an easy entry point for anybody. Like this principle of like, take time to be still in nature. Don't take pictures on your phone. Well, you can, but put that stuff away and to be intentional with not thinking about anything. Just be a witness and pay attention to what you notice, because the nature will be a mirror for you about you and where you're at right now and what you need. So just that can be a valuable entry to that. So it's not just if you feel the power of the ocean, it's not just the ocean. It's actually the ocean trying to tell you something about you.
Interesting.
Okay. So that's what's cool about it. So that's a deeper, some reflection. But that is the truth of anytime we witness anything pure. That's why, remember Ernest's example about when he had that crazy friend and he was just really still. And then his friend saw himself and his behavior because Ernest was basically being a mirror.
He broke
and then
him through that.
He freaked out.
Yeah. He like didn't know what to do with himself. Yeah.
So anything that is pure that we witness in stillness becomes a mirror.
Interesting. Yeah, it's like I think about growing up in the ocean all the times surfing, and it's a little bit different when you're participating in like recreation. You know what I mean? Like, I guess what I'm trying to say is that like I was focused on like catching the wave, doing some cool trick, and probably getting some self-gratification from that and seeking the thrill from that. That it's like, was I missing lessons or
you were just playing in nature, which is another valuable thing to do.
Yeah. Participating.
So it's just different. It's not
partaking in the creation has a value in and of itself, outside of just the stillness of like witnessing it.
Well, looking back, it's really cool because I relate with you. I remember climbing up trees and jumping 60 feet off these 60-foot trees into the river. And that became a sanctuary of like safety, even though I was doing crazy things and like consistency. And again, coming from my broken upbringing, that was something that was constantly supporting me without seeking any recognition. So it was like this cool friend. And so the ocean was your friend supporting you and having like a good time. And
for sure.
So it's kind of, anyways. So without getting lost in this too much, it's like, I love what you said and what we're talking about, how as a starting point, just taking time to be in nature and be still there and be in stillness, that pure space will be a mirror to you. Can be. You have to be seeking that though, to some degree. You have to be open to that. And then go ahead.
I was gonna say, when you say a mirror, can you give a more like it's mirroring where you're at in life, like your like in terms of your view of yourself, or like
it can be that. I'll share a personal example.
Yeah,
I remember sitting on the top of this hill, feeling insignificant or inadequate in some way, like I'm not doing good enough, or feeling a little bit down about something. I can't remember quite what it was, but I know the mountains are strong and they have real strength to them. And I remember looking up at the mountains And I was sitting down at the time, and I literally felt this strength lift me up in my armpits and stand me up.
Mm.
And like, it was powerful. And it was like the mountains did that or gave me that. So they gave me the strength that I needed in that moment.
Or reminded you that you are strong.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that honestly was more of what it was. So that's a good example of.
Got you.
But the anything that is pure, if we are still in a witness to that, it becomes a mirror for you. That can mean so many things. It can be a mirror for what I need in my life, a reminder about who I am. It's going to give you whatever it is that it's going to be a mirror of what you need, basically.
That's cool.
You have to be open to it, though.
Yeah.
It doesn't just happen automatically. You have to.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I don't know that I have connected much further beyond. I mean, I will say that like some of my deepest moments of reflection have just come from mountain biking to the top of a summit somewhere and turning around and like looking at everything. And I'm alone, sometimes with people, but if I'm alone, just that moment of taking it all in. Sometimes there's moments of like really deep just introspection and reflection. And oftentimes it's never really from a place of sadness either. Like it's always like reflecting based on, positivity. And I think going back to that idea of like light and truth, and just also, I think the idea that we can mirror like strength in nature and mirror ability as well, like, and just feel inspired that I can do anything. I can overcome anything.
Yeah, that can provide that for us.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so as we wrap this up, the other more, so we can use, in kind of my example, we can use nature as a way to get ample answers through the form of symbolism or other ways. So how do you do that? Well, it's the same as any spiritual practice. The very first step is there's many ways to do this, but this is maybe more of a practical application way. The first step is you have to approach your time in nature with some kind of a question. Mine was, I want to see where I'm at on my path right now. Okay. So there's some kind of question that's important to you. And then you seek, what does that mean? You immerse yourself in nature. That's what's cool, that's the seeking part of it. And you kind of integrate yourself into the area, the scenery. And that might look like just like sitting down by the river for 5 minutes and being still and kind of being, a witness to where you're at. So just kind of taking it in for a second. And then the third is the knocking. And remember, the symbolism of knocking is I'm taking this added extra action to get the answer that I'm looking for. For me, that often looks like standing up in nature. And there's some creativity involved in this, but I get up and I walk around and I'm very still and I'm looking around and I'm paying attention to any thoughts or feelings that come up for me while I'm walking around on this path, or it's like an intense creative focus.
It's an intentional.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm not thinking about what time it is. I am fully just immersed and I'm looking for symbolism. I'm actively looking for symbolism, like, oh, and the cool thing is at the end of this journey, I saw that I took, I saw a bird, and the bird was a symbol. It can be helpful to learn about what some of these symbols actually mean generally, like a bird is often, I already knew this before, but a bird is often a symbolism of like, it can be like birds have a symbolism of being on a flying higher and being on a higher plane and seeing things from a different perspective. So it can be kind of a symbolism of confirmation of like, this is the right thing, or this is like I knew that birds to some degree were already a symbol of like a kind of almost a confirmation of like, this is true.
Yeah.
And so it was cool. At the end of my little walking journey, I saw a bird and it was like, oh, that's kind of a nice added, like, this is actually real.
Yeah. Confirmation. Yeah.
And birds can mean many things to many people and many different things. But
how did you come across that like idea? Was it just in study? Somebody else pointing it out?
Actually, thinking about it, I think I only knew a tiny bit. I think it was, again, more of, when
it was like a download.
When a spirit is communicating with a spirit, it doesn't have to explain things intellectually. You just see it.
Yeah. And
you know what it means. Like when we communicate from spirit to spirit, it's not spoken or understood. It's just, you just know it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what's beautiful about putting yourself as a witness and having a question, taking that question into this pure space and seeking. And, for me, it's like I said, there's creativity involved. I think some people feel uncomfortable. Like, am I just creating this experience on my own? And
yeah, that would naturally be where I would go to naturally.
So remember, it's like with any spiritual, powerful experience your nature is to be a co-creator with purity, or to be a co-creator with Christ, or to be a co-creator with God. They're expecting you to do that. So it does require you to kind of create the
symbolism in a way. Yeah.
Yeah. Or for me, it's like creating this, like, I'm going to go on this walk. I'm deciding like, I want to be taught in this area over here. Like, we get to kind of choose, and then we just kind of pay attention.
Yeah. I guess it's like, don't look beyond the mark for the sake of, like, how do I say this? It's like, you're not necessarily looking for a miracle, but at the same time, in a way, it's miraculous.
Oh, it's always miraculous.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I think the people that are receiving these kinds of confirmations through symbolism probably get used to it. And they're like, oh, I'm not surprised.
Exactly.
But it is no less true when they receive it. So.
Well, and what's so cool is, as we segue to kind of the next little nugget, is like the one of the main purposes of spiritual experiences is to help you fulfill your purpose in your life. Some of these spiritual experiences might have to do with like what you need or what you need to do to heal or to become more whole, but it's all a part of the path to fulfill your purpose, to have a meaningful impact on other people. Okay. So we've been talking a little bit more about this. We've kind of mentioned the purpose of this podcast is not just the healing journey. It's like the journey of a hero. It's the hero's journey. And so we should talk about that. So before we talk about the hero's journey, I want to share one little cool thing. Well, nope. Let's talk about the journey of a hero. And then if it comes up again, I'll share it. Okay. So what is the journey of a hero? This is again, it's from that book, We by Robert Johnson, I think is who the author is. This is what he says. I love this part. The job of the hero is specific. It's to undertake the inner journey, to face the dragons and giants there and to find the hidden treasure. Because this external role of storming the castle or defeating the dragon in the year 2025, it's like there's a like dragons to slay are in short supply. Like castles to storm are in short supply. So it's like, I love what he says. The most heroic task that can be undertaken by any person, regardless of their circumstance, is to make the inner quest and to take on the burden of becoming whole. So that really is, in 2025, that is the journey of a hero. How many times do we see these great people doing great things, but inwardly they are kind of a crap human? Like people, like, good luck being, I mean, you can still be successful and financially in many ways that maybe don't matter that much and not be a good person. But if you really want to fulfill your purpose and really be a hero, you have to take on this burden of becoming whole. It's a necessary part of the journey. And that's one of the reasons why we're doing this podcast.
I love it. Well, I was just going to ask, like, what's the difference between somebody who's like, maybe they appear to have all the success, but they're not whole, and somebody that's like, that is whole, that doesn't have the wealth or the riches or the material things.
What does it profit a man if he gains the whole world but loses his own soul?
Yeah.
What can a man give in exchange for his soul?
Why is that?
It's the most powerful.
So powerful. Why is it
powerful thing Christ said?
Yeah.
We see that all the time. And that's the vanity of 2020. That's the vanity of our time. That's the deception of our time. You want to be fulfilled in your life? You want to be happy?
Hit 1 million followers on Instagram.
Have $1 million to go on as many trips.
Yeah.
And $1 million isn't even that much money anymore. It's like you need 10 million, you need 100 million.
Yeah.
It's never enough. And some people that go through this midlife crises are actually a lot less common now because the crisis is happening at every stage of life.
Interesting.
It used to be a thing where, you hit 40
or 50 or whatever.
The businessman, his dad, he'd be a part of the family business and make millions and you'll be happy. And then he hits 43 and he's like, I've never actually wanted to do this. I just want to be a river raft guide.
Yeah.
And that doesn't happen that still happens, but it just doesn't happen as much because for good and for bad reasons, but people are a lot more selfish and they're going to do what they want at a way younger age and not submit to societal norms. There's a lot of good to that. There's also a lot of negatives to that. So, okay, so let's talk about what the hero of the journey actually is. It's going in. It's okay. So the hero of the journey is the first step is responding to the call. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, it means I'm going to start paying attention to how I'm feeling. I'm going to start trying to pay attention to what nature or God is trying to tell me. Okay. So
repeat that first one. I'm going to write it down. Is that cool?
Yeah. So the very first, I'll just send this to you.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll send it to you.
I'm not worried about it. I just wanted to go back to it if I needed to during the podcast.
Oh, yeah. So the very first step is responding to the call.
Responding to the call.
Yep.
Okay.
It's probably good for us to slow down a little bit anyways. This is good.
Cool.
Yeah. So that's paying attention to, what we've been talking about. Like, what are my emotions trying to tell me? They're coming from my spirit, trying to tell me a message. And so I start listening. And that can be as simple as like, I'm just not feeling very good emotionally. I need to get some help. I need a guide. So that is a way of responding to the call, but you have to respond to how you're feeling or it's basically what it is.
So like the instant you feel a desire to change for the better,
that's responding to the call.
It's responding to the call.
Yep. Do not refuse that call.
Yeah.
You need to respond to it, whatever that looks like. Okay. So that's the first step. The second, as soon as we respond to the call, we do start taking on this burden. This is where, we leave the familiar And then we go into this land of demons and dragons.
It's where change feels like it just sucks.
This is so this phase is called the overcoming resistance and letting go. The demons consistently is the resistance. That's symbolic of I have to make sure I'm dealing with my current emotions. I'm having negative feelings come up in my relationship. I need to try to learn from that and find these lessons and what are these emotions trying to tell me? We're going to talk more about that specifically on this podcast. So it's starting to listen to current emotions. And then as we get better at having emotional balance, then fighting the dragon. There's this great dragon that we need to slay. That is symbolic of letting go of the deeper pain connected to whatever that is. It's most often parents is what it is. And then we defeat the dragon, and then we find the magic elixir, which is symbolic of our purpose. We know what our purpose is. And then we bring that magic elixir back to our community or a village, and people
partake in it.
Yep. And we benefit, many people. Okay. So, yep.
Okay. So really quick, I have responding to the call and then overcoming resistance and letting go. What was the one after that?
Responding to the call, overcoming resistance, letting go is the second phase. Knowing your purpose
is like the third.
And then fulfilling your purpose.
Corey has books.
So is it really worth? I love what it said earlier. It's like everyone has the choice to take on this inner burden, but why the heck is somebody going to do this? Is it really going to be worth it to take this journey of a hero? Well, I think it's worth going back to what the most quoted passages on these podcasts, or one of them, is he makes it really clear. And this is the expert, by the way. Joseph Campbell is the expert on the journey of a hero. He says, what happens to someone if they choose not to fulfill their purpose or to choose to take this inner journey from what we're calling? You become a victim needing to be saved. Your flowering world becomes a wasteland of dry stones. His life feels meaningless. Whatever you build, it will be a house of death. All you can do is create new problems for yourself and await the gradual approach of your own disintegration. This is true stuff. We highlighted some of it, like this person who seeks money over relationships. It's all the appearance, but deep down, whatever you build is a house of death. And this is true in every story and myth ever told. And the Bible's full of them. But there's any other myth, when somebody focuses on the wrong things, the things that they believe will bring them fulfillment, when they actually don't, there's a great fall. You create new problems, and you just await the gradual approach of your own disintegration.
You have that saved, don't you?
Oh, dude, this is good stuff. And I think of my own journey in this example, because I remember this time when I was in full rebel mode against my mom. And I was not going to listen to anything that she said.
How old were you?
I think I was 17 at this point.
Or like I was 3.
So my mom gets this inspiration. Yeah. My mom gets this inspiration, which was true inspiration, that, Corey, you need to move in with your dad. And in my mind, I was a senior. I'm like, there's no way I'm going to leave my friends, my lifestyle, which I thought was so important. It wasn't.
Where was your dad at the time?
He was here in Utah, and I grew up in Idaho. So my mom was actually inspired, and I had a choice Do I want to respond to that call? And guess what happened for me over the next year? Whatever house I built became a house of death. I started to see the gradual approach of my own disintegration. I started to feel extremely empty in my life.
After moving?
Nope. This is before, because I didn't respond. I didn't listen to the call. I didn't respond. I refused it.
Gotcha. As a result of refusing it. Gotcha.
Yep. Emptiness, sadness. And it got so bad. It got to a place where there was like no light in me. It was mostly darkness. And I had this experience where the hand of God basically reached out and preserved some type of light where I knew I needed to make a change. And then that was a huge turning point. And then on the contrast, is it really worth it to listen to our call or to listen to what we're feeling? Because I chose to listen to this emptiness and this sadness, and I knew I needed to make a change. When we do that, the protective power is always and ever present within us. One has to only know and to trust, and the ageless guardians will appear. Having responded to his own call and continuing to follow courageously as the consequences unfold, the hero finds all the forces of the unconscious at his side. Mother Nature herself supports the mighty task. He seems to ride on the great rhythm of the historical process.
That's really cool. The historical process. Like, this is not new. This is
always
as time. It's like eternal.
You start to respond to what you feel, and you start to listen to that. Then everything begins to support you. Now
you run into the right people.
You get a job offer.
You see the signs. You get the job offer. Yeah.
Because God, the universe, wants to reward you for listening to what you know, the change, like you were talking about.
Doesn't mean your toast isn't going to burn.
But then what happens next in the process is then the demons start coming. And then this is what happens. The same author. The original departure into the land of trials represents only the beginning of the long and perilous path of initiatory conquest and moments of illumination. Dragons now have to be slain, and surprising barriers passed again, and again. Meanwhile, there will be a multitude of preliminary victories, unretainable ecstasies, and momentary glimpses of the wonderful land. So it's this battle. And this is the emotional battle that people go through. I'm starting to dig up my past. I'm starting to figure out how to have more balance in my life. So definitely things are getting better, but things are also getting worse. And so it's like this, wow, I'm entering this land where there's more dragons or inner demons or whatever. But again, this is the historical process. A lot of people think that, oh, this is like just a me thing. It's like, everyone, this happens for everyone. And so it's so valuable to be able to have a guide, to be able to have people that are genuinely going through this with you. You can really feel this communal power. And like, dude, you just got smoked by the dragon. Same. Like, let's figure out what can we do? This is what I've learned, how do I let go of this? How do I move beyond this?
What are some examples of like these dragons?
I think
So
a good way to view it in the visual is I enter this new land of unknown, which is pain. And I don't really know what's down there.
Is this like more related to like the emotion, like the hero's journey from an emotional standpoint?
Well, the hero's journey has now become an inner journey, like we've been talking about. This is the inner journey that everyone needs to take if they really want to be a hero. Like actualized.
Yeah.
You can still do great things in your life.
It's the process of becoming whole. That's what you're saying. Yeah.
And then from that, I think, and I guess my definition of a hero is somebody that is not, is an inspirational person that's living an inspirational life. Like there's no hypocrisy.
Yeah. Like what we were talking about it. It's like
Yeah.
it's like truth in action.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that has to start with you and you working at least on the path of becoming whole. And then, so to answer your question, I respond to the call, I enter this new space that's scary. And then from an inner journey standpoint, I have to then start managing and trying to listen to my emotions and what they mean. Okay, I'm feeling offended in my relationship. Okay, that's starting to mean I need to find more understanding. And then it leads to you fighting this great dragon, which is symbolic of the deeper pain that I need to let go of for most people, which, like I said, is often comes from parents or other traumas, things like that. But what's beautiful is we're willing to be consistent with that journey. The magic elixir awaits, this great purpose.
That's the elixir, is the purpose.
Reveals itself. Yeah. So what we've talked about is why is it worth it to take this journey? Well, if we really let go of the pain and we manage what we're feeling, remember this pain and these demons, you could call them, they are internal fog. So the pain is not there anymore. The internal fog begins to leave, and then we can see our purpose with this great clarity that we've never been able to see it before in. And some people get frustrated by this because they want to take these shortcuts. As soon as they step into this land, this new emotional world, they want to instantly know what their purpose is. And that's fine to have that desire. But if
doesn't come quick.
You have to, yeah. There's
no shortcuts.
This is why I love this process and this inner journey, because it weeds out the pretenders.
The pretenders, yeah. Because it cannot be faked.
Nope.
And the fruits reveal it often.
Yep. It's such a beautiful journey. So how do I do it? Well, we've been giving little nuggets. I think we kind of answered that. Responding to the call. Yeah, I think we've kind of answered some of these. And you ask a great question of like, how do I actually, what does that represent? I want to just maybe throw this out there. How do I tell if I am on the right path to fulfill my purpose? How do I know if I'm on the right path? How do I tell if I'm on the right path? If you have any thoughts on this, man, the root of the common unity that it talks about in one of these books that all of us share is all of our purpose is to have a meaningful impact on other people. That is the purpose of every living soul. Whether you want to do that or not is up to you. But that is the general purpose. Is to have use my gifts to have a meaningful impact on other people. So am I doing that? Okay, that can be like a self-check. Am I on the path of doing that? And then the other way to know is, have I received any guidance or inspiration that I am on the right path? If you simply do not know, it's really important to know. And that is one of the answers that I believe can come the quickest through nature or God, is if you are genuinely want to know if you're on the right path and what you need to do next. There is no spiritual question that gets answered quicker than that. Promise.
That's a big promise.
It is a big promise.
It's a lofty thing you postulate.
It's true though.
Yeah.
So for somebody that doesn't know. If you have to be genuine. I really want to know if I'm on the right path, and I really want to know what I need to do next.
It's why having a garden is so valuable, I think. It's because if you can't get out, you can at least be in your garden.
Sure, you can seek this answer through any form of spiritual.
Yeah.
Nature can be one of them, prayer, meditation, study. But those questions get answered the quickest and the most immediate if you are sincere and you're trying to be still and you're meant to have an answer to those.
I like that you're meant to have an answer.
Think about it. If there really is this loving force in the world, this loving God, if you're a parent, it talks about this in the Bible. What manner of men are you that when your son asks you for bread and you give him a stone? Or when he is, whatever. I'm going to botch the rest.
I know.
But think about your son coming up to you and being like, Dad, I really want to know what I can work on right now to be a better person. You're not just going to be like, what a dumb question.
Yeah, you're going to be like, hallelujah. You're looking for real meaning in life, And
like, Dad, what can I do? Like, am I on the right path right now?
Yeah, you'd want to do everything that you would easily stop. Hopefully, if you're a parent that cares, you're going to stop whatever you're doing if your 6-year-old asks that question, or 7 or whatever, to your teen. Yeah.
If you believe there's a force in the world that cares, if you believe there's a force in the world that is really good and that cares and that has love in it, then it's going to be obvious that the answers to these are going to be, of course, immediate and consistent.
Yeah.
If you have benefited from this podcast in any way, it would mean the world to us to have you subscribe, to allow us to keep it going and bring on inspirational human beings.